Hey, listen up. We got another episode of Wise Kracks, featuring the crack man himself, Bill Krackomberger, and our co-host, John Orlando, straight from Las Vegas. Wise Kracks is your ticket inside the world of sports betting, with tips, picks, special guests, and more. Only on WSN.com.
Welcome to Wise Kracks episode 106. I can't even say that with a straight face. Where does the time go, Bill Krackomberger? This week, we're excited. We have a big show today. Chris Fallica from ESPN's College GameDay and the Stanford Steve and the Bear podcast is joining us today. Big show. But before we get to all that, Bill, sad news in the sports world last night. We lost a legend.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I watched some stuff on Vin Scully about 6 months ago, and I recorded it on my DVR at home. And I go to it once in a while. I watched it, I think 3 times. Really good. And then, you know, he's 94. He lived a nice, long life. Where do you sign up for that? But, you know, when you lose someone like that, it doesn't matter. It still impacts a lot of people, and especially you, being a Dodger guy.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
You know,
I was
knew him, right? You were up in the booth with him?
I met him a bunch of times, obviously, with my dad. And he invited us into the booth multiple times over, you know, all those many years.
Nice.
I mean, he is my childhood. Like, you know, you obviously you grew up on the East Coast, so you didn't really get him play by play as a kid. But like, I remember taking a little transistor radio and putting it under my pillow. Because you know, when I was little, 9 o'clock bedtime, so they're still playing.
Sure.
The 7:30 game, right?
Sure.
And I would listen to like the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, fall asleep to Vin Scully's voice in my ear.
Major League Baseball today tweeted something out. I believe it's on MLB. MLB tweeted something out that was really good, and I should have retweeted. I retweeted something else, but there's a really good. It's the MLB Network tweeted out something today. So if people can go onto their feed, it's a really good 9-minute video on him, and it was so good. It just picked up on all the different things. I thought it was really, really cool. You know, things that maybe I wouldn't even know. Like I said, he called Sandy Koufax's perfect game, Don Larson's perfect game in the World Series. Yeah. This was him back then. This, you know,
Hank
50
Aaron,
years
home run,
Hank Aaron's home run.
Yeah,
where he literally after he called and hit said home run, he was quiet for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And they said, "Wow, can't believe you had nothing else to say." He said, "I would have broke down and cried if I had said anything else."
Yeah.
You know, to witness, to be there. You know. The 86 Mets, I remember, the World Series. Of course, I remember like it was yesterday. I was listening to that broadcast, not the local Mets broadcast, and, you know, slow roller behind the bag.
Behind the bag.
Gets Drew Buckner's legs. Ray Knight scores. The Mets win. So, I mean, there's so many things.
The Gibson call.
And then, of course, the classic 1988 Gibson call. That had to be the best
Referring
one.
to the ball as she.
First he said, "Look who's coming up." And then when literally, you know, he literally said, "And she's out of here. She's gone." I mean, it's just, she is gone. That's the way he said it.
Yeah.
And you just hear all these things, and you realize how many decades and you know, people like one of our guys on the show, one of our producers, also one of my good buddies. His dad, you know, grew up in Brooklyn Dodgers fan. Yeah. And then he, of course, they went to LA, and it broke his and many Brooklyners hearts. So.
67 years, I believe, with the Dodgers. I mean, that is just unbelievable, right?
Yeah. Have you talked to your dad yet, or no?
I haven't yet.
No. So it was it's real
and a nice man too. He's a nice guy.
That means a lot too. You said something before too. You said he's a good tipper.
Yeah. I only know that because I was in the booth and they brought him. This was like in the 80s, late 80s. They brought him some Dodger dogs,
right?
And whoever brought him in and delivered it, he gave the girl $100.
Wow!
Yeah,
wow! Something not a lot of people would do, even today.
Yeah.
Tiger Woods. I'm sorry. But that was very, very, very nice of him. And just we lost one of the good ones.
Yeah, rest in peace, Vin Scully, for sure.
Absolutely.
Okay. Other news: Deshaun Watson in the headlines. Served his suspension, 6 games. How do you think that's going to impact the season win total?
Well, it really didn't, because it was already kind of baked into the line. But what wasn't baked into the line was you can have look-ahead games, and you can look ahead to the whole season and bet. Right now, you can bet Week 16 if you want, Week 17. And they were thinking he was going to have more of a longer suspension. So those line makers, I actually went ahead and bet a lot of those games later in the season. I hope they work out. I hope Watson's ready after Game 6 and can get in there because I have some good line edges on those futures. So me and my team were thinking exactly what we were thinking, 4 to 6 games.
Really?
I know it sounds low, and I know people are upset about it. There's a lot of controversy out there, people going after him. So I think it's going to work out well for me as a sports bettor and me getting the statistical mathematical edge on the closing line value. So that's funny. Speaking of that real quick, some people think that CLV, it's called, or closing line value. There's one idiot on Twitter that constantly goes after people, me and some of the other sharp guys that I know, and says, "Oh, that closing line value means nothing," and that's absolutely not true. If you get something +4 and it's now +2, or let's say pick 'em, especially preseason football, it means everything.
How could
long
you say
long term? Granted, you can lose that bet. He's saying, "Well, the bet lost, so how does that matter?" It's over long term,
Right.
And I try to tell this guy, check your pockets, see how smart you are.
Right.
The guy's a broken down valise.
Right.
He really is. So,
Yeah.
But he has some impact on some people, and closing line value means everything. If you don't have closing line value, it's very tough to beat this sport. Any sport.
I would assume it's the equivalent in poker when they say get your money in right? If you get your money in good, you might still lose that hand, right?
There's still a giant luck factor, variance, exactly.
Right,
yeah.
but over the long haul,
you'll be if your money's in
you'll
good.
be Jeff Madsen as opposed to John Orlando. I took your line.
I didn't say that.
Okay. Speaking of losers, no, just kidding. Jake Paul. The fight got canceled over missed weight, but it wasn't even at weigh-ins yet. It was just a week out. Kind of a crazy thing.
It's crazy. That's really unfair for even like the undercards who were going to be getting some national exposure or something. And
everyone
involved.
suffers. Yeah,
everyone suffers. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? Our same producer, whose father loves the Dodgers, he said something off air before, and I think I'm sick of all this Paul stuff. Even though we've had his trainer on the show and got to see Jake for a second run, I think I'm just sick of it. I'm over it, really.
Yeah, the constant hype train buildup to these fights is what's annoying, right? It's like just be a boxer.
That's right.
And fight boxers.
That's it.
And get in a mix of boxers and see how it shakes out.
Right. And fight people in the division that of your weight class.
Right.
And see how you move up the rankings if you're that good.
Right. No more spectacles. Just be a boxer.
Yeah, but that's not what they are though. They're internet people that all these kids follow and.
Brilliant marketer, though. I'll give him that.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
he's
both
certainly
brothers.
Both brothers have turned nothing into something and become two of the top paid athletes in the world.
Amazing.
It's pretty crazy.
Only in America. Baby.
Only in America.
Don King.
Yeah. Big topic 3, baseball move. So Juan Soto
Yep.
didn't come to the Dodgers.
No.
I'm not broken up over that. He did go to the Padres, which could present some issues. And he's not the only one that went to the Padres. They also
There's a lot of moves there.
They got Bell and they got Hader, the closer.
Right.
He's lights out. I mean, arguably, I would say probably the best closer in baseball.
Yeah.
So Padres have a squad.
I don't know. I think they gave up 5 prospects, right?
Gave up prospects. Hosmer ended up going over to the Reds.
Yeah. He's the one that refused to trade?
He refused the trade to the Nationals. Yeah. I still don't see them taking out the Dodgers, though.
No. I mean, I got to tell you something, too. I didn't know San Diego had that kind of money.
Yeah.
Or, I say San Diego. I mean, I didn't know. I'm sorry. I didn't know. Of course, they have tons of money there and stuff. I'm not saying that. But I just didn't know that ball club because I've been to so many games in Petco.
Yeah.
That's one of my spots to go. I love Petco Park.
Yeah. And they have some big contracts.
But the Parks doesn't get any support. I mean, it doesn't seem like the fan support's there.
Yeah, if you go to a Dodger, when they play the Dodgers, there's more Dodger fans than Padre fans.
I went to go see the Yankees. I got a first row ticket, literally 10 feet from the dugout, first row for $50 when last time.
Stop.
Yeah, right on StubHub, too. It was the day of the game. A couple hours before the game, they were right there.
It's a nice park, too.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love
San
that
Diego
park.
is a great
I love San
city.
Diego. I mean, 72 degrees year-round, and you're watching baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. Also UFC. I don't know if you watched the fight. Crazy fight.
I know the results, but no, I don't.
Okay,
I know,
yeah.
It was like an all favorite card, like every favorite one except for one. I think.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Amanda Nunes fought rematch against Juliana Pena, and it was a great fight. The scorecards would make you think it was just an ass whooping, but it was a good fight. It was an exciting fight.
Is that why one of our producers, the other one, Rob, is that why he put them on there?
There's in round 2. They gave that a 10-8 round,
Okay.
and Pena ended up getting beat up pretty bad, but she also almost submitted Amanda a couple of times.
Oh wow!
From her back while Pena was on her back. I mean, it was really exciting to watch.
It looks like two different judges, right? It looks like
two different judges.
Sal D'Amato and
Yep.
Douglas Crosby. They both gave it the same thing.
Yeah, and I know Doug.
Do you know?
Yeah, and we don't always see eye to eye when it comes to judging. He's a nice guy, but I don't always agree.
Now Dana
with
hires all
judging.
these people.
No, the
they don't.
athletic commission does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know Dana went after some of them sometimes.
Yeah. Dana wishes he had more power, I think, with the commission. He tries to advise them on, because a lot of them are boxing judges. I'm not saying Doug is or Sal, but those judges all came from MMA.
Sure.
They all came out of boxing.
Sure.
In the beginning.
Did you see the fights? These fights?
Yeah.
Okay. Were they here or no?
Dallas. They were in Dallas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. It was a good card. It was a real good card.
I figured you must have did good. I just said all the favorites won. That's John.
Yeah, I didn't. I actually
Parlay
didn't,
six
I
of
didn't
them
really
together.
have any. I didn't have any action.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
All right.
I've been telling people though, follow my picks because I'm not betting, so it means I'm going to win.
Yes.
But my parlay even wouldn't have cashed though. I took some dogs.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to go for value.
I gotcha.
in telling people at least.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yep.
The Brandon Moreno fight was a real good fight also. It was a dog fight, him and Kai Kara France, and Brandon Moreno won.
Yeah. The sharp guys were on France there.
Yeah, France has
like 170
one
or
punch
something.
knockout power,
Yeah.
but Moreno's just he got it done. He's got great footwork. He's good.
Okay.
It was a good fight. Yeah, I wish you would really get into.
I just told you I knew that fight though, right?
Yeah,
I knew
you
the
did.
Wise guys
That was
were on it,
impressive.
taking plus
Yeah.
170, and
but can't get you to watch. Like, would you go to a contender? So Dana White Contender Series is every Tuesday night now for the next 10 weeks. Would you come? It's guys trying to fight their way into the UFC. It's invite only here at the UFC Apex.
Yeah.
Would you come to a fight?
no.
Even there's only like 100 people in the crowd.
No, I would
Still
like,
not coming.
I may go to the to the like a main
Nate
event.
Diaz, you go to that September 10th, maybe.
Yeah, but I would go to something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the 9th.
Only up in a suite.
Whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
So are you going to that fight?
I'll submit for tickets.
Where is it?
It's at T-Mobile.
It's at T-Mobile. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I have connections for boxes at. That's at
Allegiant?
That's at Allegiant.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But maybe because I'm going to a show. Let me see. I don't know. I knocked it out. I'm going to a show. I'm going to Motley Crue. Imagine the people don't know that side of me.
Yeah.
I can listen to anything. When I was a kid, I used to like heavy metal. I mean, I won't purposely listen to it now.
Yeah.
But I like classic rock now. I'm really a 70s rock guy. I like the 70s, 80s, 60s, late 60s. But I'll listen to. I'm going to see I think Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Poison, and Joan Jett.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So.
Yeah. I've met Tommy Lee before. Nice
Oh
guy.
yeah, I got backstage passes.
Do
That's
you?
the reason why I'm going, or else I wouldn't go. I have backstage passes
Wow.
to meet them. I met them already.
Okay.
So I have some.
Yeah,
passes
if you meet Joan, but definitely tell her you know my dad because
Wow.
she definitely knows my dad.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
I love
nice.
Joan Jett.
Nice lady. Yeah.
I seen Joan Jett with Hart. They were great.
Yeah.
She was great. Yeah.
There's a note in the group chat now from the producers, from Rob, one of the producers. We can all go to the fight. He's lobbying.
Oh,
we
yeah,
all go to
he's
the
gonna
fight.
be here?
Yeah, he's coming in
good.
for the Nate Diaz fight.
Good.
Yeah. Tell me about look-ahead games and the edge for bettors.
Yeah. Well, exactly. So if you could really have your own opinion on these look-ahead games, and I guess that's what we talked about a little bit earlier about like Watson. There can be some edges. I still see. It's funny. I just went to DraftKings to look just now. I don't know. I think September 22nd. I think Pittsburgh getting 4 points versus Cleveland probably should have some value there, right? You're going to have the I don't want to say backup. He started already, but I think Jacoby Brissett is there. I mean, I think he did start. He started. I know he was on Miami. He was on a couple different teams, but I just think there might be a little value there. I still think look ahead lines. There's some. I've literally, if I log into my DraftKings account, you will not believe how many bets I've made look ahead lines this season. I think there's some value there.
Because there's so many factors, right? You don't know who's going to get hurt. There's so many things.
Yeah, there was so many. Now, granted, 90% of them are gone, but people don't like tying their money up. So, like, I'm betting games week 16, week 17, literally. Even December, never mind January. People don't like tying their money up for that long.
And you included. You usually
I don't like doing
that.
It normally.
So why is this
There's
different?
Such giant edges this year. I've never seen edges in my history. Now, you got to understand, these new sites are only open a couple of years to the States. So they're putting up, William Hill, here in town, I'm just thinking William Hill and Westgate, they have every single game up for the whole season. Mm-hmm. So you have DraftKings, FanDuel back home. When I say back home, they're in half the country. They have the games up for the whole season too. One doesn't look at the other's lines they literally have team meetings and put up their own lines, which is very unusual actually. Usually when someone else has a line or they don't respect that bookmaker, there has been some big differences this year. So if you're willing to tie money up, I had some games. I'm not a middle scalp guy. I don't middle and don't scalp. Very, very rare. But there were some opportunities that presented themselves early in the season here when the lines first came up that were absolutely insane. So, literally, I have some games, pick 'em and 4. So pick 'em on one side and 4 on the other side in the NFL. I have a game pick minus 60 and plus 7.5. That's sick value, sick. So I had to go both ways on them. They're just too. I don't know what the happy medium is there. I get my guy's opinion, what they think it should be, and I'll put a little more on that side. Mm-hmm. That's what I do. So anyway, that's just talking about some futures and stuff. But yeah, so you really, if you pay attention to socials and you hear about things, I think you should jump on them right away. Like as soon as they talked about Watson not being out the full season, I think there was some values from week 7 on, in my opinion. So.
Does it become hard to manage those bets in terms of bankroll? Like it sounds like there's so much opportunity in your eyes, value-wise, with a lot of those. With a lot of those bets, is it hard to manage the bankroll?
They're really. I actually overbet. I bet more than I probably should have this season. I really did, and I have contests coming up now. And I say more than I should have. When I seen the opportunities, I just jumped on them, and I didn't care about, I said, I'll have enough money for football season, though. It doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. I'll just take, I don't like to have to take money out of the bank and send it over to the sites and stuff, but I had to do it this year. It's an unusual year to have to touch bank money.
So when you do that, it doesn't mean you're going to bet lighter on a NBA weekend or a hockey weekend or something. It's nothing. Your week to week, your day to days don't change bankroll wise because you bet on these.
Definitely not.
Okay.
I don't look at. I never bet from a scared bankroll or should I do this or don't bet too much or.
Right.
I know that. I do have that. Certain allegiances to my bankroll. And nothing towards a certain team, but I know when the opportunity presents itself, I have to bet it, and I'll figure it out later on throughout the season if there's a problem or something, which there's not, so that's good.
Producer Rob's on a roll today. He just wrote, my bankroll is always scared.
Honestly, Rob's not incorrect there. Most people do have a scared bankroll. Yeah. So they are betting, not that they're actually over betting what they should. I always say 2%. You can go 2-3% of your bankroll per bet. It doesn't sound like a lot. Right. If you have $1,000, that means you're betting. If you have $1,000 allotted just for sports betting, that means you're betting $20 a game. Right. Is that exciting? That's not exciting.
Right.
But if you're a winning sports bettor, which a very fraction of 1% is, then your bankroll is going to grow, and as your bankroll grows, your bet size will grow.
Right.
So
that's a really important thing because I think that's where the casinos get you, right? It's those casual guys, me and my friends.
That's what everyone is, though. I don't make fun of them.
Right.
That's 99.9% of all people that go in a casino and gamble. Do you think they say, well, I can't bet, I can't lose over this much because I know I'll have to, I can't. They don't do that. They just play. You think guys from the East Coast, back where I'm from, originally,
the bankrolls, whatever they get their hands on.
Whatever they got their hands on, it's all going in action that day. You think they're going to Atlantic City saying, I should have only bet 2% of my bankroll like that?
Right.
It's all in action.
Right.
It's just an hammer. No matter what, it's all going.
Yeah. Super excited for today's guest, Bill. I know you've been really excited to have him on the show for a long time. I speak of Chris the Bear Fallica. He began his career, his ESPN career, I should say, as a production assistant, which is just an amazing thing that, you could start off as an assistant and work your way up to the level that this man
27 years ago.
It's unbelievable. He spent most of almost his entire ESPN career working as a producer for Emmy Award-winning College GameDay. In addition to production, he has become a huge on-air personality on his own. He co-hosts the Stanford Steve and the Bear podcast, and football fans flock to see his picks before every football weekend. Chris, it's great to have you on Wise Kracks.
Hey, Chris.
Hey guys, great to finally to be with you guys.
Oh, we were waiting. I was just waiting till football season though, and I was saying we gotta have you. So, but we were talking off air a little bit about Vital, and we've had Vital on the show. He was great. Dick was great. He started singing for it. He was unbelievable. But
there's a shock.
Let me ask you though, because I really didn't know. So are you working with him? I just seen the Dickie V special on ESPN. It broke me up a couple times. I love that guy. So are you working with him throughout the basketball season too?
I not necessarily throughout the entire season. Okay. Obviously, with Dick, with his health issues the last couple of years, hasn't done the SEC tournament and hasn't done the Final Four. But prior to everything changing with COVID, I had worked with him at the SEC championship basketball tournament, at the national championship Final Four weekends, courtside, helping him with Selection Sunday, with statistics and stats, and I've worked with Dick going back a long time myself, and Howie Schwab were kind of like Howie was is his guy.
Sure.
But ever since Howie was no longer at ESPN, I've kind of replaced Howie, at least in the physical.
We love Howie
side.
Too. Howie loves you.
Howie,
I spoke to Howie yesterday.
Howie is the best, and Howie's a big reason as to why I am where I am and had as much success in the research field as I did. But no, Dick, I kind of just lucked into it working with Dick, and Dick's a great man. What you see from Dick Vitale on the air and publicly is who he is privately off the air and when the camera goes off. So we are all very happy that Dick is doing well now.
Yeah,
and I'm hoping that he can get back to doing a full slate this year, or close to a full slate.
Sure. That special was great, and it was fresh in my mind, so I figured I'd mention it to you. We always talk about how there are personalities on air, on media, in the sports gambling world. We kind of talk about that every week. But, those people that were the gamblers first and then became known on a bigger scale, as social media exploded, well, there was a lot of people that were social media was big, and then all of a sudden the industry exploded, and now I don't want to say start to pretend, that's a strong word, but for lack of a better word, they pretend to be experts giving picks or whatever it may be. I think you're one of those old school guys like me. We're born where we are. I think gambling was in our blood from a young age. But I like I said, just tell us a little bit about your gambling fever. I shouldn't speak for you and say you were, but I believe you were like me at a young age, and it was in our bloodlines. Me being from where I am, you being from where you are. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, you're correct. I can remember from a young age. I mean, going to the horse track regularly. We had a quarter horse track at Suffolk Meadows, which was very near where we lived on Eastern Long Island in East Mauritius. So we would go there regularly. We'd go to Belmont. We'd go to Aqueduct. My dad's godfather used to write for a racing publication. So horses were always in my blood, and sports were always in my blood too. I mean, I can remember Dad coming home with the parlay tickets, and I'd get to play a parlay ticket every week. And obviously, you don't play them really anymore now that you have other means to do it. But I can remember doing a public, not a public relations, but a public affairs. What's the word I'm looking for? In school on what was going on in the world, and it was Pete Rose and gambling. So I did a social studies, public speaking, deal on here's Pete Rose and here's the gambling. Also, it's always been in my blood. You're right, and I can remember, going to school in Miami, being around obviously all the horse racing industry down there. But yeah, and I think that was one of the things, and you caught on to it, and my producers and friends at GameDay caught on to it too. Hey, this guy he's lived it. He's been around it his entire life. We never really hit it. It's one of the things I'm kind of proud of with our show is even before the boom came, we were kind of the first show, at least at ESPN, to kind of be like, we know people are betting on games. We can't just come out and say, oh, lay the 7.5 and be that brash about it. But we spoke about it a lot more than other shows did. And then finally, anyone who saw me in the meetings on the show, they knew my passion, my knowledge, and my ability to kind of communicate. And they were like, we need to get this on air. And I was always kind of hesitant because I didn't want to be the loud, obnoxious New Yorker flying all his arms around like this and talking on the air and making gibberish. And they were like, no, you're going to be fine. And when the show finally expanded, they were like, nope, you've got no choice. You're doing it. And they finally started bringing me in for some picks and some information, some whether historical stuff or some analytical type stuff. And then finally created the little device with the board. So I think it's gone pretty well, and I certainly enjoyed it. And hopefully we can.
You're doing great at it.
A really
John,
good success.
What he's talking about, those football parlay cards, they were sheets we used to get when we were kids, and you pull off the bottom part is, you pull it off and you give it back to the bookmaker. Let's call him a bookmaker. That's what he was. And you used to pick the games. You used to pick 14 parlays. I think it was 3 was the lowest. I think it was 4 though. I used to pick
3. I think 3 was like 6-1 and 4 was 10-1.
I did that from when I was a little. By the way, I did that at 9 years old.
Really?
I'm 7, 8, 9 years old doing that. And you don't think you think it's harmless,
right?
But it's like little kids gambling.
That's the
Yes,
gateway.
I admitted I was doing it, and I grew up on Monmouth Park. My father always took me to Monmouth Park when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So I grew up going to Monmouth Park too, like Chris. I'm sure at a young age. I think I was like 7 years old going with my dad. And my dad, comes from a family, an old-fashioned, hard-working family. They had a farm in Ohio and West Virginia. My grandmother was real tough. They didn't like gambling. I remember that. My dad really didn't gamble. The Italians got him. My mother's family got him. And the brother-in-laws and they just took him, and he loved gambling after that. But
really?
Yeah, we went to Monmouth Park all the time. So, and Chris, you've been to Monmouth Park, I'm sure, many times. Mm-hmm. And, I said each time, I haven't been there in years, but one of these times I'm dying to get back there. I know it's just something that I don't really bet a lot on horses. I talk about how hard it is to overcome that, but it's just the beautiful scenery of a racetrack.
It's a fun day.
Saratoga, and you don't even know this. Tomorrow I'm going to Del Mar.
Oh, you're killing me.
I'm going to Del Mar tomorrow for 4 nights.
You're killing me.
Yeah. Buddies are there, so I'm going to go there. It's just a nice track to go to and just to hang out. And,
it is.
I really don't bet much. I'll bet $5-10 a race.
Yeah.
I literally will try to bet $5,000 on the preseason football game, but I'll bet $10 a race. But
see, you're a lot smarter than me because my pick 4 and pick 5 tickets tend to get a little heavy. And so I'm glad you mentioned that too about the rake, because that's one of the things I've actually cut back quite a bit at Saratoga this year because of that. The takeout on trifectas has been through the. It's like 25%
Yes.
they're taking off the top, and I'm like, you can't beat that. You get. I got the other day like a 9-1 over 11-1 over like 5. It was like, this is what I'm getting.
Right.
Like people and I'm not the only one who's noticed it. Like there are people all over Twitter who have been like, why am I playing?
Thank you for talking about that. Those pick 3s, pick 4s, pick 5s. They're 20. Think about what he just said. 20. That means $100 goes into the racetrack and the gambling pool.
25 comes right out.
25%. 75 gets given back to the public. And I'm cynical. I don't know that number. I mean, it could be less than that. Who knows? Right. But that's very good, Chris. And it's unbelievable that you're saying you noticed it. You've been noticing it. People are complaining about it. And it's the reason why I guess a straight bet, let's call it a straight bet in horse racing, which would be a win bet, is New York 14%. Is that correct?
I think that's what it is.
Yeah, so they take 14% compared to, let's call it double than that on these bigger things. So it's kind of the reason why I stick to sports betting. I know, but yet when I was a kid, though, I couldn't control myself.
Yeah.
I was with my buddies, tough guys, 16, 17 years old at Monmouth Park, blowing money. I never knew it was
Santa Anita
25%
daily.
Yeah, I never knew that, but I like going to the track. I like the scenery. I like going out to eat at night with my buddies and everyone trying to win there, and everyone thinks they have a tip on. I want a tip on something. By the way, I have in my life. I'm sure you know this, Chris, too. I'll bet on horses once in a while, but I'm looking for a little tiny track like Louisiana Downs or something. The 4-horse. No one knows, and they'll say, "Crack, don't bet it. Don't bet it into the pool. You got to bet it into some offshore site. You can't bet it in the pool." So I'm not looking to bet Del Mar or nothing big with it. Everyone thinks their horses are going to win. So
it's so fun. It's so funny you were talking about a tip, and I'm sorry for jumping in again. But because I was up at Saratoga a couple of weeks ago with some friends, and we had a great time. And we do like a running show parlay, and we had gotten knocked out. And then you're talking about tips. And in the last race, there was a big favorite, and it looked really good on paper. And like there were multiple guys who, like, I don't know how they knew this guy or they just met him that day. I'm like, oh yeah, there's this guy Seamus. And Seamus loves this horse. I think it was like the 13 was whatever. It was a horse they drew in from the also eligible list, and he like literally came to the track just to bet that horse. It's like, oh, Seamus loves this horse today. I'm like, all right, well, we'll use Seamus's horse in the exacta box with the favorite. And sure enough, Seamus's horse won at like 9-1. And it was like the first time ever.
Did you have Chris? You had him? You had him?
Yeah.
Good.
Yes, we used whatever was left in our show parlay. Instead of doing a show, we like, it's the last race of the day. Let's go for a nice score. So we bet a nice big exacta box with him into the favorite, and everybody was.
Wow, see, I'm listening to anyone named like Seamus, Abraham, Moish. I'm listening to anyone like that. So this is good.
They're not parting with the money.
Yeah, that's good. Wow. And you hit it. That's great that you hit that.
Guys, it's time for me to tell you about the Crackwins app. Download this app. It's on Apple, it's on Google Play, or you can just go to crackwins.com. It's hard to believe that football preseason is happening tonight. Is this true?
Yeah,
tonight there's a game?
Preseason, it's I'm reading what our producer wrote up here, and it's true. Like, this came from my partner. I knew we were a giant winner. I knew it was a very good sport for me over the years.
I see the number right now.
I had no idea it was 32-11.
That is insane.
It's really insane.
Yeah.
The info is just unbelievable.
Because you always say to be a winning bettor, what is it, 54% or 52%? What's the number?
Well, the real number is 52.38.
Okay.
But to see that number, it's just totally sick. I mean, we really done well in preseason football. And I love this time of the year, too. I love, it's funny. I said something to one of my guys yesterday. I said, the only bad thing about this is I lose accounts by this happening, because you think about it. So now we're going to bet preseason game. It doesn't start till the 11th. Yes, there is the Hall of Fame game. But besides that, it doesn't start for over a week. So if we're betting games now, the bookmaker, whoever's booking it, whether it's a big site like DraftKings, FanDuel, one of those big sites, BetMGM, or it's your local guy down the corner that's writing through a per head shop, they have a whole week to stare at your bet and say, Jesus, this guy got it the best of the line by 5 points, by 4 points, by 3 points. They have literally a week to look at that line, whereas if I'm betting tonight's game, it's over and it's out of the account, win, lose tonight. So there's, you got to have, there's pluses and minuses, Yep. I go by the old Billy Walters thing. Billy said, just fire, Crack. Just fire. All the accounts, just fire away. We're going to lose them anyway, just fire. So that could be.
I like that. I like that strategy. Next week, we're going to talk about the keys to winning in the NFL preseason on the show as well. So make sure that you guys sign up, download the app, Crack Wins. It's on Apple, Google Play, or crackwins.com.
Yeah, cool. So also, just to let you guys know, golf and NASCAR, there is other things now to bet. We're still in baseball, but football was last year, definitely, besides the drafts, of course, but football was our bread and butter last year. We destroyed them. So as you can see, I just told you the preseason record and also the regular season record last year for the props and stuff killed them. So look forward to it.
Yeah. Okay, Crack, let's talk about WSN.com.
Yep, got it in front of me.
Yeah.
Again, great articles every week on here, and this week is no different. I mean, it's not only the predictions, odds, and news. It's also the things I actually like, which I tell you guys, the industry news, U.S. sports betting news. We have here Massachusetts just legalized sports betting. I don't think they'll actually get it together for the NFL season. I'm hoping they do for late 2022. But I know people that live in Massachusetts. They have to go all the way, to like Rhode Island and stuff to bet. So in Boston, so this should be good. Massachusetts, congratulations. We have some big sports betting state that little state. So that'll be good. How about California? Sports betting debate heats up as tribes launch new attack ad. This is an interesting subject. All the stuff here, again, another great article on WSN, all about Alabama, Ohio, Kansas City. This is a story about Missouri. So, of course, you have your futures, your more betting news. There's a futures section just on future betting. And one article, it's right in the middle there, NFL Week 1 picks against the spread predictions. I like a couple things that guy said, Mike Lucas. So take a peek at his stuff. All new articles on there all the time. Of course, guys, I always talk about the state section, the bonuses, the sports books. Fantastic bonuses. You just click on your jurisdiction, and literally it'll pop up under state guides. I'm clicking on Arizona since it's the first one under the A's, and literally there's Caesars 1,500 risk-free, BetMGM 1,000 risk-free, DraftKings, Unibet, BetRivers. You can click on them right there. Go through that link, because that link, WSN has negotiated special bonuses that you really can't even get going to the site on a lot of these. So WSN.com for all your sportsbook needs and more.
Chris, let's talk about one of the hottest topics in college football right now, the NIL. Paying these college kids almost like they're pros. I don't know if you saw Lane Kiffin said that NIL is basically legalized cheating. I was wondering what your thoughts are on that. And also, from a betting standpoint, do you think that kids getting that kind of money has any impact on the lines and the bets that you might make?
I think it's made it a little bit more difficult to make bets earlier in the year and really get an earlier start, because these kids are transferring so late. You're kind of getting a late start in creating your numbers and your power ratings and your opinions on teams, because someone might transfer in relatively late in the process. So I think from that standpoint, it's made it a little bit more difficult. And how do you assess a team like USC now, who not only brought in the new head coach, they're kind of the first team to really revamp their entire roster through the portal and with the head coach. But I'm old school, like Bill. I get it. There's a lot of money, and I think players should take something out of it. In addition to the scholarships and the books and the free education and everything that they're already getting. It's a massive industry. And do I like the way the direction that the sport is headed, kind of towards two big mega conferences? I don't, but I'm a fan of the sport. The games are the games, and I'm gonna watch the games. What I really want to see happen is, wherever we head down the road, and I think we're headed towards a situation where maybe the NCAA is kind of obsolete, at least at the very high Power 5 level that we're going to have with like the Big Ten-centric league and the SEC-centric league. What I would like to see is NIL become really what it was designed to be. It was designed to be kind of a monetary bonus for good performance, for making your team successful, for setting a record, for creating visibility for yourself and your team, not as a, hey, we're going to give Joe Smith $200,000 NIL deal to sign with our school. That's not what it is. Now, you can argue that's been going on forever, paying recruits illegally to sign with teams. But I think what you might wind up see happen is kind of like a salary type structure where every player will get paid, whether you're a freshman, whether you're a sophomore, whether you're a junior, whatever. By your class level, you'll get a salary type level, and then the NIL will return to what it was supposed to be, and that's kind of an addition and a bonus for good performance. At least that's my hope.
Sure,
I like
that's
that.
great. Yeah, it's a real good take on that. You know, I know you like other things. I know I read about your soccer. You've actually loved in the past, horse racing. But I would think college football might be your bread and butter. Am I right? Is that your favorite sport? Is it your favorite sport to bet, and why?
I think college football is my favorite sport. I wouldn't maybe necessarily say maybe favorite sport to bet, because just how with my schedule and where I am on the road, it's kind of tough for me to take advantage of opportunities in game while I'm working, and I just can't. Sure. I just can't do it as I'm working. It's just not. It's not necessarily right for me to be sitting there while I'm and firing on games. It's just not how I am. But I really like betting on soccer and tennis. out of the college football season, just because of the in-game opportunities that you get when you can notice how, okay, this is a high-stakes soccer game. It's 0-0, and under 2.5 is going to be a very good play. Or in a tennis match, maybe the big favorite in the match drops the first set or is down a break early, and you can jump in and take advantage on a line that's a little bit reduced from what they were at the start of the match. So I would kind of two-prong the answer and say I think college football is my most knowledgeable sport, the sport I enjoy a great deal, a sport I enjoy to bet on the most. But I think the other sports like soccer and tennis offer me a greater opportunity just with being at home at the time and being able to be able to physically watch what's going on, see the score ticker going on some matches that I don't have up on a tennis channel or soccer matches that don't have up on the screen, and find good times to hop in the live betting markets.
Wow, that's good. Live betting is a big thing taking over the United States. It was a big thing in Europe for years, but the U.S. has caught on, and you're right there. I even noticed on my apps when I'm in the areas to bet on that's like front and center. If you just click on DraftKings, it comes right up as the live wagering on soccer and tennis. He's correct. So I do love the live wagering features, and I'm a guy that bets. I always say this on Gil's show on Thursdays. I always say about betting during the commercials. I've seen some stuff I didn't like that's done, putting on delay and putting you in a queue and stuff. But this is different. This is a total different thing that you're talking about. You're saying that the tennis matches, they have breaks also, same thing. So
sure.
I think there's probably some really good opportunities. Maybe Chris is right here. It's even easier than a college football game or a pro football game, which has a lot of eyes on it. You could pick up those little nuances, those little things, like he said, the 0-0, 0-0, and you could pick up on those things. So it's pretty cool. Like I do like to bet college football, though. I bet there's 200 teams compared to 32 in the NFL, which all 32 are covered by every media source. So I do like to bet college football. I like to bet early in the season, but I'm really looking forward to really the preseason NFL too. I love betting preseason. I know I got a lot of moves. It's amazing the guys on Twitter, Chris, you see them too. Like I'll put something about preseason football and they'll say, preseason, are you a degenerate? They don't even realize the value of, when I send out a game, when I bet a game and it moves 2, 3 points, 4 points, it's amazing closing line value, which equals money in the end.
They don't get that. That's and you understand it. That's the best edge that you're ever going to have in an NFL game, because the odds makers can't really adjust for, okay, the starters are only going to play for a drive, or it's going to be the entire backup. Like the coach is going to play the third string quarterback and the third string offensive line. Like that's when you have your greatest edge with those numbers, knowing the coaches are telling you exactly what they're going to do, and the odds makers can't adjust for it enough. So preseason is something that people should look at, and like I said, college football. I'm sitting here firing on a bunch of preseason win totals and some Heisman stuff. So it's been a fun off season.
That's what I was going to ask you, Chris. Was do you bet a lot of college football futures?
Yeah, college football is really hard in terms of the futures, because now you could argue whether it's a good bet or a bad bet. But you can bet, I think I saw it at Caesars, William Hill, Ohio State, Georgia, and Alabama versus the field was like minus 350. And it's hard for me to sit here and argue somebody other than Alabama, Ohio State, or Georgia winning the national championship. Now, I know people are on both sides, like, how could you say something minus 340 or 350 is value? But at the same time, I would say, if you want to cherry pick a team that's going to be a real long price to win the title, lay the 340 with the three teams that at least 2 of the 3, if not all 3, are going to be in the playoff, and 1, if not both, will be in the title game, and cherry pick a team, whomever it is, who might be a lot longer to win the title. And if you're right, then you're holding a good ticket. And I think it's even stronger with conferences, Like Ohio State to win the conference, to win the Big Ten, I think was somewhere around minus 275. I don't have the updated number in front of me. But Ohio State to win the Big Ten right now, they're a shorter price right now than what they will be when they reach the Big Ten championship game. Like against the West, against whether it's Wisconsin, Iowa, Minnesota, whomever, they're going to be a double-digit favorite in those games, so they're going to be a lot longer than 275 on the money line. So, again, like I would recommend betting Ohio State to win the Big Ten, because at the very least, you're going to be in a position where the comeback on the dog in the title game is going to be greater than 275. Sure. So you have an opportunity, if you want to get off it, you can do that.
Sure. Now, what Chris is saying, this may be a surprise to you here, and the things I say on the show, and what Chris is saying maybe even is a surprise to him. I deal with two of the sharpest sports betting syndicates in the world, and Chris, you wouldn't believe it. You can lay those numbers now. You can. They have no problem, especially my prop guy. He has no problem laying that type of number now. Because, like he said, two of the three teams. I mean, there's so many things. You can lay that type of number now. And if you think it's a bad position down the line when that title game comes or when that conference game, these games, you can actually middle the game, which I don't really middle a lot. But if you don't like your position, you can middle it and get off at a better price. So I have to tell you, I usually don't talk about that because people may jump on me or something, and I really shouldn't worry about that. What people think. I know I'm helping people from a mathematical standpoint that realize it. They know who I deal with. They know the people I'm working with. You can actually lay numbers like that, especially early in the season on college football. There will be so many times that I'll say lay 31. Or which is unbelievable because I'm an underdog guy mostly from my old school upbringing, especially in NFL. But in pros, especially early in the season, I don't when they're jockeying for position, want to look good to the boards and stuff and get good rankings. You can lay money line. You can lay some prices on not everyone, not blindly, but certain positions in certain situations, especially these type of future bets. So really good.
And it's not only available in the preseason. Last year, for example, late in the year, there was a price on Alabama to miss the playoff where I'm sitting here and I'm trying to project, okay, they're going to be in the SEC championship game. They're going to be an underdog to Georgia. And I think I think they were like plus 300 or so on the money line in that game against Georgia. It got up to somewhere around there because the line just kept closing. I had laid a no price on Alabama to make the playoff, knowing that I'm going to have an opportunity that if Alabama beats Georgia in the SEC championship game, they're in the playoff. So I wound up making a really nice score on that because I just kind of did a little thinking and got ahead of it where, okay, I'll lay the little no price on Bama to miss the playoff, knowing that on the other hand, I can just take them to win the SEC championship game against Georgia, and I'm going to come out ahead.
Wow, there you go. That's a perfect thing. I have a few mantras about college football here, and I don't tease, and I recommend no one ever teasing, especially totals. People want to tease totals. You're laying 13-10. Now the bookmakers out here in Nevada, there's some 16-10s. I don't want to mention them and throw anyone under the bus. We have a giant sports book here that literally went to minus 160 on 7-point teasers this year. No one can beat that. Yeah,
and people will bet
people
it.
Will bet
the crazy thing.
It's a giant sports book too. I'm not going to mention it, but it's a giant sports book in town. You go to the counter and ask for a 7-point teaser. Even for college football, you're laying $1.60. It's just absolutely nuts. So again, don't overvalue the weather. The key numbers aren't as important as in the NFL. Primetime games. Everyone wants to bet. It's on TV. You have to bet it. Finally, don't try to get out on the Hawaii game. By the way, everyone wants action on the Hawaii game. And
explain that.
That's like the midnight game. Just because it's left. Because if you lost during the day,
that's your catch-up
at the end
game.
of the night, that's just the way people. But one thing I respect about this man and Stanford Steve. They're very, very open. They don't give out every game. They'll pass on games. They don't go through the key games that come out, even the marquee games. They don't have necessarily a pick on every single game.
And you preach that all the time. You don't have to bet just because it's on TV.
They provide their records, John.
Yeah.
No one does. That's not something people do. No one wants to provide their records. They're very open. So give our viewers some of the insight. You guys do that, right? Am I saying it right? Walk us through.
Yeah, no, and I'm open. I'm very open about it. I mean, I think 2 or 3 games over 500 on the board last year. I didn't have a super year, but there it is. I'm being honest. I'm not saying I won games that I didn't win.
Absolutely.
And what you said about the marquee games is really, that's kind of I don't want to say a struggle because that's probably not the right word, but working at ESPN, which is a big media market, they often will ask us to pick the biggest games of the week on the air. And it's one of those things where it'll be like, this is not one of my plays, but if I had to play it, I would say bet this. I like the Northern Illinois Eastern Michigan game, but I don't have a pick on Notre Dame Michigan. And a lot of times it's something that they kind of struggle with because they want the buzz. It's Sports Center.
Yeah.
We need to pick on USC, UCLA, or Oklahoma, Nebraska. Yeah, I don't like Oklahoma, Nebraska, but I like Indiana, Minnesota, and they're great about. They've actually been very, very good in understanding as we get deeper into the sports betting lane of kind of understanding where Steve and myself and Doug and Joe, whoever else are coming from, that, okay, we understand that you need a pick on a marquee game or a marquee brand. So we'll go along, we'll play ball, and we'll give you an opinion, we'll give you an insight. You're like, hey, this isn't something that we're going to pick or we're going to bet on or suggest. But at the same time, if you have to, you're sitting there watching the game, I would do this, and then we can segue on
Good way to word it.
To the games and the picks that we really like. So that's one of the things I think, just kind of like if you want to say it's a downside or a negative of ESPN, Fox, whomever, all these big
the
networks,
industry. Everyone wants to know what you're on the big game. Everyone wants to know, of course, but it puts you on the spot. I hate that. I don't like giving picks out at all.
Right. I know you don't.
I just don't. And I have an opportunity to do a game day show this year, 3 hours before the game. And they said to me, one of the things in the contract was have to give out 3 picks. 3 picks.
Yeah.
I never do that in media wise.
Right.
But it's tough to give out
because you want to be judged on the long term body of work.
Of course. I know.
Right.
I know. I don't have losing seasons.
Right.
I mean,
anyone can go 1 for 3, 0 for 3.
Yeah. But wow, you've been great, man. I appreciate you. Have anything else for Chris?
One final question for you. Your Jets over/under win is 6.
Oh, 6.
I know Gary Vaynerchuk. I don't know if you know who he is. He's a digital marketer, owns Vayner Media. He's a huge Jets fan. He says he wants to buy the Jets someday.
Wow.
I know he's looking at this hard.
Buy him now.
Right? You can get it for cheap now. He's right. Buy him now. What do you think about that? This year,
I'm under on the Jets this year, and I guess I'm just a downtrodden, beaten Jets fan. We had season tickets from like 1978 through the early 90s but I just don't see it with the schedule. I mean, they're going to be underdogs in every single, like probably until the Bears game, and be like significant underdogs in all of those games. And I know the draft was good to them, but these players are still going to have to perform. They had a terrible roster. The secondary was terrible, and I know they brought in guys to help shore that up. But I just don't think the schedule is very conducive to them to getting off to a really good start. And if they're 1-7 or whatever the schedule suggests that they could be, then you're going to start to hear about Zach Wilson and struggling again. And we don't know if Zach Wilson can play.
Sure.
I think everybody who's positive and high on the Jets or think that they can be a bit of a sleeper is just assuming that Zach Wilson is going to make a leap in his second year. I'm not sure that's necessarily the case. So like there are people out there who are like betting Zach Wilson to lead the league in passing.
Oh God!
And I'm like that's not going to happen.
Yeah. They have to win 7 games for you to lose that bet. Think about that.
Right.
They have to win 7 games. Now he said it. The Jets did really good. They're in the draft. They were like one of the top 3 teams for drafting, but they still have to play in the NFL, and they have to get to that season level. And this may be a good. It may be. I didn't bet it, but I originally seen 6.5 under 30, and I seen that line. I said, "Wow, that means 6 games I win."
Right.
It could be a good bet there. But well, listen, we appreciate you giving us so much time, and I really appreciate you. By the way. everything you do, and I know that you listening on Gil and I on Thursday. You're a Gil fan too. He's a great guy. I love the kind of knock around thing. I could say anything I want in there until they throw me off, which they will one day. But I really appreciate having you on, and we'd love to have you on again in the future. I know you're busy. You have a busy schedule, and yeah, God bless you. God bless everything you do. Thank you very much.
Appreciate you guys having me on. And yeah, we'll absolutely do it again during the football season for sure. And we actually have some real games to potentially talk about. TCU minus 7.5. That's the 1 week 1 game that I played right now, by the way.
Okay, there's a tip.
There you go.
Expecting that at the very least, I'm going to have gotten the best of the number because Colorado is not a good team, and it wouldn't surprise me if that game touched 10.
Wow, that's a big move. Good deal. Great advice. Again, Chris, you have his social up there. You put his social up there for us, and this way everyone can follow him on Twitter. He's a great follow, and of course we know him from all the shows. And again, thanks again. Appreciate having you on. Look forward to having you on again.
Well done.
Yeah.
Bill, I loved having Chris the Bear Fallica on the show today.
Man, he's great.
Great guest. Keep getting incredible guests.
No, he's good. You know, he followed me. We follow each other on Twitter, and he's just a good guy. And he comes from the same kind of a background that I do. Betting sports for years before this stuff even got popular, like we talked about. Got accepted anyway. So great guest. Great to have him on. Hope to have him on again in the future.
I look forward to another show next week with you. You know, you've been getting some great guests. I've been getting great guests.
Yes.
Producer Rob has been getting great guests. And now Mr. Tony Orlando is working on an insane guest.
Good.
I'm not going to give the name just in case.
Good.
But he's working on a whopper for us. So
awesome.
hopefully we'll get lucky in the coming weeks. Are you here in studio next week?
Next week I'm here.
All right. So I will see you next week, and we'll both see you guys next week on Wise Kracks.
Thanks, guys.